Rust in Peace by Megadeth. Check it out right here. Got it on vinyl. 180 gram vinyl. The original mix, not the terrible remix that Dave Mustaine did back in like the early 2000s. I'm going to talk about why I'm revisiting this album. And I'm going to be revisiting a lot of classic albums that have come out over the years when it comes to heavy metal. This is definitely one of those albums. So why am I bringing this up? Well, last year, I ended up getting a gift card to a place called The Exchange. The Exchange is a store that sells used CDs, used vinyl, video games, DVDs, Blu-rays, video game systems, lots of cool stuff. And you can also buy new CDs there. They have a great selection of brand new vinyl albums you can buy there from any genre you could probably think of. It is a local business here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And so I ended up getting a gift card. Now, my son, who is a big heavy metal fan, we both said, hey, let's take our gift cards. Let's go up to the Exchange. Let's go buy an album together. You know, each of us buy a record. Let's go record shopping together. So we did. Ironically, we both bought Megadeth records. He bought the reissue of Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. Now, I was going through the records, and I'm going through all these albums. There's so many. There's like all these Sabotage reissues in there. There were so many albums in there that I was thinking about getting. I owned a lot of the stuff that was in there. That was another thing. But then I came across this. And I'm like, you know, my son bought a Megadeth record, and this is here. Not only that, but it was under $20, brand new. I'm kind of like, 180 gram reissue of Rust in Peace. Probably one of the most iconic and one of the most influential thrash metal albums of all time. And it might quite honestly be one of, if not my favorite thrash metal album of all time. But it's really, really cool. First of all, it's the original mix. You have the, Capitol Record logo on it. When you take the record out, I mean, it is definitely looks identical to the original pressing of this when this album came out in 1990. But when it comes to Megadeth, the one thing I could always say about Dave Mustaine is that he has always had talented musicians that he has brought into the band. Some are better than others. Typically, some of them are, everyone he's ever brought in has been talented, but sometimes the musical chemistry seems a little bit off. Like, for example, I thought, even though World Needs a Hero was a good album, the chemistry seemed a little bit off between him and Al Pitrelli, and as far as guitar players go, it just didn't seem like it fit. Al Pitrelli's a phenomenal guitar player. The Chris Broderick thing, great player, but he just didn't feel like the best fit for Megadeth. Where I thought Kiko Luero and obviously Marty Friedman were the perfect fit, or Chris Poland was the perfect fit. And so I'm revisiting this album because I forgot just how great this record actually was. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. And, when I first bought this reissue, I didn't listen to it right away. I grabbed it, put it down, kind of didn't think about it. When you do a show like mine, you don't really get you get so much new music. You kind of don't go back to the older stuff until like the end of the year and the beginning of the year, because you aren't getting as many electronic press kits and promos and stuff like that. Finally, over the last month, I started really listening to this. I got a brand new setup for listening to vinyl, got a tube preamp going into my very large and powerful stereo. And I listened to this probably almost every day this past month. And it just, I don't know, the new system I have and listening to this record sounded incredible. Now, when it comes to Megadeth albums, I would say almost everybody that I know thinks, pretty much everybody will go back and say Rust in Peace is probably their best album. Not everybody. Some people think Peace Sells is the best album. But when it comes to Megadeth, for me, Rust in Peace is my favorite album, hands down. The lineup on this album, in my opinion, is the best lineup Dave Mustaine ever had. And most Megadeth fans would agree with you. They would say, you know, the Marty Friedman, Nick Menza, David Ellefson, Dave Mustaine lineup is the best lineup the band ever had. Not saying the other ones haven't been good. I think Kiko Loureiro is probably, you know, we haven't heard the new guitar player yet on an album, Tammy Montessori, but Kiko, in my opinion, was on par with Marty Friedman. Or he was pretty close. Great guitar player. And the 2 albums he recorded with Megadeth, 2 of the best albums they've ever done. But Rust in Peace is like the gold standard for thrash metal. Probably my favorite thrash metal album of all time. There is not a song on this album that I dislike. The way that they, you know, this pressing, because some vinyl pressings are better than others if you're into vinyl. This pressing sounds incredible. And if you hook it through a 2 preamp like I have going into my stereo, it's even more incredible. But I got to be honest. This re-recorded version, or not re-recorded, but this repressed version on vinyl that they came out with is fantastic. So my question is, folks, if you like Rest in Peace, what's your favorite song? Is it your favorite Megadeth album? Where do you have it ranked in Megadeth's discography? Curious to hear your opinion. Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command Podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.